All right, let's get going on these apples. So I ended up being late today because my meeting went over, and you know, people just do that sometimes. I don't understand the whole meeting, work meeting mentality of life. Not a fan of meetings. Unless they're meetings specifically to get something done. Meetings to talk. I don't like meetings to talk. Make a decision. Let me put that back. I'm going to use a 3B. Meetings to talk really are frustrating. Thank you for letting me know you can hear. I appreciate that. Meetings to talk are frustrating. So I'm looking at this apple here and squinting my eyes a lot because since it's colored, it certainly makes it a little more difficult to see things. So you gotta squint your eyes. I actually think this whole thing is kind of that tone here. But I think that's my last meeting today, so that's nice. And quite honestly, this whole apple has, I'm going to go to HB. I think my internet is doing better now. Sometimes the other day when I was having trouble, I restarted my network. It's been a little rainy and cold the last few days. I know that can have an effect on internet. I'm just kind of cleaning up the background around this apple here. For Veterans Day. Today is Veterans Day in the United States, and I am a veteran. So I was in the United States Army for a time, and that was an interesting experience. I'm proud of my service. I don't recommend it for everybody. But one of those things is Veterans Day here. Support people who have raised their hand to defend the United States. So I did that once upon a time. I'm going to go really dark on this here. I'm going to go 7B. Because this here, and I'm going to try to draw this. My eyes are not the best, so I've got to make sure I'm doing this right. There's that little dry spot on the bottom of the apple here. Looks like that. 9B. Make sure that that stands out. See some very faint, I'm going to go to a 3B again, very faint kind of shadows that sort of come out and around the bottom here. And then I'm going to go to a 5B. And I want this to be darker here. So it's getting cold here. I don't know if it's cold where you are. It might even snow tonight. There's a small chance of that. I like the snow. I used to ski. I don't know if I'll be skiing much anymore. My knees don't like me as much as they used to. But that's okay, I still enjoy the snow. Alright, I'm gonna leave that for now. My pencil camera seems to be working okay. I'm going to go to a 3H real quick and just kind of put a slight tone, really slight tone on the rest of this. There's only a couple of spots that really should be paper white. That's right here in the center of this apple here. There's a shine on it. So I'll just leave that kind of spot open a little bit. Alright, let's move on to the other apple. So, I'm going to start with that stem. And let's see. I'm going to go with something pretty dark. Let's see. I'll do, I'm going to do 7B. So, that stem. Dark right up here. And down here is actually a shadow from the apple itself casting down onto the stem. So on one side, show you in a second. So the bottom half here is in shadow, but the top half here is in light. So that, and there's some little nuggets in there. I don't know what to call it, little bumps at the very tip there. That's good right there. I'm going to stick with the 7B and let's shade the bottom here. Lots of squinting. Actually, I'm going to shade over here first. This is pretty dark right here. I had an interesting thing happen this morning. So I put up a YouTube short, Instagram reel, and I haven't looked at the stats on Instagram, but YouTube, it blew up. It between the hours of like 7 and 9 a.m. this morning, I got like 1,000 views on that. It was just a 30-second little clip, and it was kind of fun to see because, you know, most of my videos are long. People will watch them for a minute or two and then they move on. But this one, and they're few, you know, not everybody is here to be an artist. They just kind of want to see what I'm doing, and then they move on. But for some reason, this one attracted a lot of views, and I don't know why. Anyways, it was fun. I like to watch the numbers go up. I'm not here for the numbers, but it's still exciting. Tomorrow morning I ended up having another early meeting. It was supposed to be today and it got moved to tomorrow, so I will only be on once tomorrow. I'm going to go down to a 5B, I think. Color is interesting because we've got these apples that have some light colors and dark colors, you know, that greenish yellow on the apple. It should be represented with a lighter value, right? So we're going to have to recreate that a little bit. All right, I'm going to go back up to a 9B real quick to get around the stem. And 7B, actually 5B, whatever this is, I'll take it. It's 4B. There is a little shadow on the apple from the stem. Right there. I'm going to go down to an HB. Just kind of carry that down a little bit. Again, there is a little tone on everything, so let me go up to a 3H and get that tone all over the apple here, except for where it is kind of highlight right in here. my meetings this morning. I haven't had lunch yet. I normally have lunch right before I come online here with you. And so I'm a little hungry. But I thought this was more important to be online, getting my work done here with you. All right, that looks pretty good. I like those apples. I'm happy with that. So there's our kind of our first pass at a draft, right? So the first thing we did is we just kind of marked our boundaries for everything. The second thing we did is what I just finished right now. It's our first pass with shadows. And so now we're going to do a second pass with shadows. I'm tempted to work on the apples first just because they're a little more interesting. So yeah, I think I'll do that. I just kind of want to work on the apples today. So what should I go for here? I want to get some of those markings on the apples. So I need a dark-ish pencil, I guess. Let's go for the darker of the markings. And so I think I'm going to go for not an HB. Let's do, what is this? This is a B. This is a B. A little darker than HB. All right, so we'll start with this guy here. So all I'm going to do is kind of pick apart where I see darker spots, and they all kind of go around in the same direction. So you can really see it on this one where they start in the stem area, and then they go around in the different directions around. So it's important that you pay attention to those markings. And again, nobody's going to see this, right? Nobody's going to see the original apple. You know, you can eat the apple and discard the evidence. No one will ever know if you got the markings right, as long as they're following the shape of that apple. I'm going to go darker. I'm going to go 3B. A lot of it's just kind of tiny marks. It's going to look like scratches at first until I get it all filled in. I'm going to take a quick second and go to a 7B because I want this background to be darker. help that apple stand out a little bit. I'll add more of that later. I just wanted to see that a little bit better. All right, back to my 3B. I think a banana would have been easier. These apples have a lot of marks on them. That's okay. I don't mind spending time on a drawing. It's hard to keep track of what I've already drawn with some of these marks. Here's the trick with this that I'm noticing. So sometimes you're drawing and you're like, okay, now I understand how to make this thing that I'm drawing here, right? So I'm drawing it, and it's not so much about making the dark marks. It's a little bit more about making space for the lighter marks. So I'm seeing little areas that pop out. Let's say, okay, here's a lighter mark. I'm really not happy with this yet. This is going to take a little time. some areas are so difficult to see that really I'm not even making the marks that I see. I'm just trying to represent the marks that I see, because I just can't see them that well. My stomach's grumbling. It's angry at me for not having eaten yet. Doing something a little different with my eyes. I don't remember ever doing this before. This is with all these tiny little details, what I'm doing is I'm squinting and releasing the squint every time I look over there. So squint and release, squint and release. I'm trying to find where the shadows are versus where the coloring is. Excuse me. Tickle in my throat. I might need to get a little bit of water. I'm going to turn off my microphone for a few minutes. Alright, I think I'm okay now. So I'm going to have to evaluate this as I go. I'm not all that happy with it at the moment. It's not, maybe it's just a matter of it's just not done yet. But painting these apple marks is difficult. Or more difficult than I thought at first. I'm going to switch to the HB. This whole area is like, it's got these little pieces of yellow and little pieces of red. So it's almost like it's almost like doing really bad shading in a way, I guess. Like I don't want to fill in all those parts, but I also don't want them to look like hash marks either, you know. So I'm just kind of like going in weird directions. Can you hear my stomach? It is growling. Same thing with here.
Save the stories for some. Wanna guess about you, 'cause all you say is just a lie. 'Cause I'm so fed up of this situation, sick and tired of this hesitating. Why you gotta say all these things that just aren't true? When we were good, my heart was on fire. You quenched all my desires. Didn't know that we would expire, but you turned out to be a beautiful lie. A beautiful lie. Oh no, a beautiful lie.
this is. Let me turn this over for a second here. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought. Part of my struggles with art is knowing how much detail is too much detail. challenge of this apple, I can tell, is to get it to look like it's got those marks on it without having to draw all the marks, right? At the same time, I'm really a stickler for details. Uh-oh. I just got a message that it's snowing outside. It's official. It's cold here. All right, I think I'm going to stop there. I want to work that some more, but I feel like I'm also not seeing it very well. It's not bad. Let me turn it over because, like I said, that always helps me a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. I don't know that it looks like an apple, though. There's something about it that I'm not quite happy with. And it might be that I've gone too dark in spots, but those spots at the very top there, let me show you, are really dark. So, boy, I want to keep drawing, you know? But I'm pretty hungry. I'm going to stop there, though. All right, let me stop. Let me stop. Put the pencil down when you need a break. And I need a break. So, we're just going to keep going. Eventually, we will get there. So, I hope you've enjoyed today. I'm a little tired today, too. Maybe it's the snow. It's just winter, you know. I hope you had a great day. Continue having a great day and happy drawing. Thank you again so much for joining. Bye.